Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible force that, let's be honest, runs our entire modern world, computer networking. And to do it, we're cracking open the lessons from this fantastic guide. All right, let's just dive right in. We're using Networking All-in-One for Dummies as our roadmap today to break down how everything, everything, from your phone to these giant data centers all talk to each other. By the end of this, you're going to finally get what's really going on every single time you connect to the internet. Let's start with a mystery we've all faced. Your internet sputters out, you call for help, and what's the first thing they ask? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Why is that the magic fix for everything? Well, hang on, because we are absolutely going to get to the bottom of that. To get our heads around the entire internet, we've got to start small, like really small, right there in your own home. You've got a few devices connected, sure, but how does that little tech bubble in your living room manage to reach out and talk to a server on the other side of the planet? That is the journey we're about to take. So first stop, your secret home network. And yeah, we're talking about all those gadgets you know and love. Your computer, that wireless printer, the little blinking router box. By themselves, they're just pieces of hardware. But when you put them together, they create this tiny private network. And that is the first crucial piece of the puzzle. Here's what that basic setup looks like, right? You've got your computer and your printer. Then there's the wireless router, which is kind of like the traffic cop, telling all the data where it needs to go. And of course, you've got that cable coming out of the wall. That's your connection, your gateway to the whole wide world. It looks simple, but it's incredibly powerful. And yeah, this whole setup, it's got a technical name, a local area network, or LAN for short. The key word there is local. It's just any network that connects devices in one small contained space, like your house or maybe a single office. Okay, so we've got our little corner of the universe figured out, our LAN. But how does that local network connect to, well, the rest of the planet? It's time to zoom out, way out, from your house to literally everywhere else. And that brings us to our next big idea. If a LAN is like your house, then a WAN, a wide area network, is like all the roads and highways connecting every single house in the world. It's the tech that links a LAN in a San Francisco office to another one all the way over in New York. And the internet? That's the ultimate WAN. It's one giant global network of networks. So where did this whole thing come from? Well, believe it or not, it started way back in 1969 with a government project called ARPANET. Eventually, it split into two networks, one for the military and one for everybody else. But that created a new problem. How do you get two different networks to talk to each other? The solution was a brand new set of rules called the Internet Protocol, or IP. And that, right there, was the real beginning of the internet as we know it. Okay, just think about this for a second. We have billions of devices connected to this thing. How on earth does an email from your laptop find its way to one specific person on the other side of the world without just getting totally lost? It works for one reason. Every device has agreed to follow the same rulebook. And the book has this perfect way of explaining it. A network conversation is basically like a phone call. You've got rules for how to dial, rules for how to answer, even rules for leaving a message. In the world of networking, these rules are called protocols. They're what makes sure every single device is speaking the same language. Now, one of the most important rules in that whole rulebook is something called DNS, the Domain Name System. See, we humans like to type in easy-to-remember names for websites, but computers, they don't get words. They speak in numbers, IP addresses. DNS is that critical translator that bridges the gap between our language and theirs. Honestly, the best way to picture it is as the entire internet's giant contact list. When you type in a website, your computer does a super fast lookup to find the right number, the right IP address to call. Without DNS, we'd all have to memorize these crazy long strings of numbers for every site we wanted to visit. No thank you. But wait, what if a website moves and gets a new number? That's where something called TTL, or time to life, comes in. It's basically an expiration date stamped on every entry in that contact list. It tells the network, hey, this phone number is only good for, say, an hour. After that, you better call again to make sure it hasn't changed. It's how that giant contact list stays up to date, minute by minute. So far, we've been talking about physical stuff, right? Cables, wires, routers, but so much of what we do now happens in the cloud. What even is that? What does it mean when your files aren't on a machine you can actually touch? It turns out it all comes down to one absolutely brilliant idea. Well, it all started with a problem, a really inefficient one. You see, most physical computers, even these super powerful servers, are actually kind of lazy. As the book perfectly puts it, they spend most of their time just twiddling their digital thumbs. All that expensive hardware, all that electricity, just sitting there wasted. So, the solution was this incredible idea called virtualization. It lets you take one massive physical server and digitally slice it up into dozens, even hundreds, of smaller, completely independent virtual computers. All of a sudden, all that wasted processing power gets put to good use. This single idea, this efficiency, is the engine that makes the entire cloud possible. And this is what it actually looks like. You're seeing a full Windows desktop here, but it's not really on this computer. It's a ghost. It's a virtual computer running on a server maybe hundreds of miles away that you're just accessing through the network. And that right there is the big secret. The cloud isn't some magical place. It's a method. It's a way of doing things. So we have this ridiculously huge, complex, global system. But what does it actually take to keep the whole thing from falling apart? Let's take a quick peek behind the curtain at the people whose job it is to keep the internet switched on. And now we come full circle, back to our original mystery. Why does restarting your router actually work? Well, it's because over time, tiny errors or memory glitches can build up in its software, making it slow and buggy. When you pull the plug, you completely wipe its short-term memory clean. It's forced to reload everything from scratch and grab a fresh, new connection. It really is the oldest trick in the IT book, and for a very good reason. But once you get past that simple restart, things get complicated, fast. As the book hilariously points out, network engineers deal with some seriously complex math, with names that sound like, well, something you could get at a diner in Texas, like a rolling hash. It's just a fun reminder that behind our simple clicks is a world of incredible complexity run by some real unsung heroes. And those heroes are dealing with an absolute explosion of data. I mean, just look at this chart. This shows the growth of just one type of storage, backup tapes. And yes, people still use tapes for huge archives. In 2000, a single tape held 100 gigabytes. By 2020, a single tape held 18 terabytes. The amount of information we have to manage, store, and send across these networks is it's mind-boggling. And let's end on a little bit of trivia that just perfectly captures the fun spirit of this book. Ever wonder where the name Bluetooth came from? It's actually named after a Viking king from the 10th century who was famous for uniting a bunch of different tribes, kind of like how the protocol unites all your different devices. How cool is that? So there you have it. From a tiny land in your living room to a massive global web built on shared rules and a clever idea called virtualization, the network is truly one of humanity's greatest inventions. It has already rewired our world in ways we couldn't have imagined. And it just leaves you wondering, what kind of connection will it make next?